All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the financial markets. We're going to cut through all the noise, deconstruct the myths you see all over social media, and really dig into the disciplined, macro focused framework that professional institutions actually use. And spoiler alert, it has nothing to do with a secret indicator. It's about understanding what truly moves money on a global scale. So, let's start with the big one, the question that probably brought you here. Why do so many aspiring traders end up failing? Well, the answer isn't that they're missing some secret software or a magic signal. It's usually a fundamental misunderstanding of what actually makes these markets tick. Okay, here's our roadmap for this explainer. It's pretty straightforward. First, we'll look at the myth, the one that's so alluring and traps so many people. Then, we'll watch it collide with cold, hard reality. After that, we'll build up the institutional framework. And finally, we'll map out what the real path to professionalism actually looks like. All right, section 1, the alluring myth. This is all about the world of shortcuts and guaranteed signals, that promise of easy money that you see dominating the entire online conversation around trading. You've seen this narrative everywhere, right? It's pushed by influencers and people selling signals, and it paints trading like it's some kind of solved puzzle. It's always built on this idea of a secret indicator or a can't-miss signal, and, of course, the promise of getting rich quick. The focus is almost entirely on looking at chart patterns in a vacuum, as if the market is just a simple video game with predictable moves. And that brings us to section 2, the collision with reality. This is where we break down exactly why those simple pattern-based strategies just don't hold up over the long run. It's not that patterns are useless, it's that they aren't the engine driving the car. Okay, this right here is probably the most important concept we'll cover. You have to understand that financial markets are forward-looking systems. They aren't just reacting to what happened yesterday. The market is like a giant global machine that is constantly trying to price in everything that might happen in the future. All the known info and, more importantly, all the future expectations, they're already being baked into the price. So here's the key takeaway. The big, powerful market moves, they don't happen because some line on a chart got crossed. No, they happen in the gap between what the market expected to happen and what actually happened. Think about a Fed announcement or a big inflation report. The real action is always in the surprise. And these are the things that institutions are actually obsessing over. We're talking about huge forces like central bank policy, where interest rates are headed, inflation, capital flows, investor sentiment. These are the powerful deep ocean currents moving everything, while those simple chart patterns, they're just the ripples on the surface. So if those are the real drivers, how does a professional actually approach the market? That brings us to section 3, the institutional framework. And it's a total mindset shift. It's about leaving predictions behind and learning to think in probabilities. This slide just lays out the difference perfectly. The retail amateur is totally focused on their ego, always asking, am I going to be right on this? The professional, on the other hand, is focused on their capital. They're asking, what's the full range of outcomes here, and what's my risk compared to my potential reward? It's a fundamental shift from trying to find certainty to managing uncertainty. And this thinking extends to the ultimate goal. The retail mindset often chases the thrill, the excitement of hitting that one big winning trade. For an institution, though, the number one goal is survival. It's about long-term consistency. The game isn't won by hitting a few home runs. It's won by making damn sure you avoid the big, catastrophic losses that can take you out of the game for good. And this quote just sums up the whole professional philosophy perfectly. This is not a static game. The underlying economic environments, what we call market regimes, they're always changing. A strategy that killed it in a high-growth, low-inflation world could get absolutely crushed in another. Real professional skill is about managing that constant uncertainty and adapting to whatever the current environment throws at you. So that brings us to our final section, the path to professionalism. And it's all about reframing this entire thing. It's not about finding some hidden secret. It's about the long, slow process of building a high-level skill. And really, this is the final word on the subject. There are no shortcuts, period. Just like becoming a doctor or a pilot, becoming a proficient trader is a skill you develop over years. And it happens through a structured, disciplined, and honestly, often pretty boring process. So what does that process actually look like day to day? Well, it's not staring at charts for 8 hours. It's continuous macro analysis. It's keeping a rigorous journal and reviewing everything to learn from every decision, good or bad. It's developing ironclad emotional control.
And maybe the most underrated part, it's the patience and discipline to just sit there and do absolutely nothing until a real, high-quality opportunity presents itself.
I mean, think about that for a second. This idea is completely alien to the influencer world. For a true professional, sitting on your hands, sometimes for days or weeks, waiting for the macro story, the capital flows, and the market sentiment to all line up, that's not a sign of weakness. That is the job. In fact, it's often the most profitable part of the job. So we'll end with this question, something for you to really think about. Are you building a durable, repeatable process for analyzing the world and managing risk? Or are you just chasing the short-term outcome of the next trade? Because the answer to that one question will probably define your entire journey in the markets.